on. You know what I
mean? Let's get started. We over our 10-minute threshold.
Oh, this meeting is being recorded now. Okay, cool. Let's go.
Yeah, Smith, man. You get that too, right?
We watch today, and the games come on from 1 to 10. So y'all got to come on with this. I'm on vacation.
All right, we're gonna get started with the news. All right, first bit of news. This is from Zero Hedge. Refunding the police. Major cities backtrack on the police budget cuts after crime surge. Following calls last summer from groups such as Black Lives Matter to defund the police, a number of city officials are now walking back statements to go through with cutting funding to law enforcement due to surges in crime levels. Minneapolis City Council several months ago voted to approve $6.4 million more in funding to the police department, coming after a number of council members last year pledged to completely abolish the department. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, a Democrat, announced in May that he is pushing to increase funding to the city police department, coming about a year after George Floyd's death. The violence needs to stop. It's unacceptable. People deserve to feel safe in their neighborhood. They deserve to be able to send their kids out to the sidewalk to play and recreate without bullets flying by. That's unacceptable. In New York City, Mayor de Blasio, a Democrat, announced that this month that his city is building a police precinct in Queens to deal with a surging crime rate wave coming months after he pledged to cut $1 billion from the New York department budget. Let me just scroll down. Democrat mayor of Los Angeles pledged to cut funding last year, but however, the council approved to hire 250 more police officers within months of recent crime waves. And in Baltimore, a city that historically had high crime waves, the city's spending board in mid-May approved a budget increase of $28 million to the police department. So what do we think about these urban cities last year saying that they're going to cut police funding, and now due to recent statistics and events, now they're not backtracking, but they're further increasing their budget?
I'll jump in. I really just think it comes down to the original problem that the police department needs to be funded with the right type of people. When I say right, more so the people in the community that they're servicing. Because you can't have, the people aren't going to police themselves. Yeah, you'll police yourselves for a month while y'all angry about the fact that Black people being treated unfairly. But then after that time passes, it's like, then there really ain't no police here. I'm about to go do some nigga shit. And I'm going to go kill a Black man or person, just like that white cop would, or rob him, just so that I can get ahead. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it really just comes down to being able to encourage more people of color to sign up for these positions. That's really the only answer, honestly, because indicting these cops or, that's my time.
Okay, I forgot we were on the clock, right? Okay, so I think people still have the misconception of what defunding the police means. It does not mean to just strip away the money. That's not what people are talking about when they're saying defund the police. So for them to be putting money back into the police, I don't really see a problem with that. The whole thing just needs to be revamped. Mm-hmm. That's what the defunding is, revamping the whole fucking police system and how shit is done. Mm-hmm. I'm done.
Mm-hmm. Want me to go first, Black Zeus, so you can have the last grandiose conclusion?
I'll come back in. I ain't want to get cut off.
Okay. I'll keep it simple. When it comes to the police, it's, funding is not the question. It's more where the funding is going. If it's going to educate police officers on the communities that they serve and understanding the issues that may plague the community, being able to distinguish between a gang member and just a kid that dresses, in a urban manner, and as well as trying to find those biases in police that cause them to make bad and rash decisions. I think there is an issue of defunding the police, where I think they should defund the police as far as some of the military level equipment that police have, everything from tanks to flash grenades and, just like insane, like going on war. Like, and it's like, these streets aren't that serious. So definitely defund that type of level of equipment. Like, it's not that serious out here, but putting more of that money towards educating and reforming the police to understand the level of responsibility they have towards that community and the people in it. And
dang, that nigga stopped right on the dot.
Smith said it beautifully. I think there was a lot of mixed messaging when some people said defund the police. Some people went to the far extreme saying they want to abolish the police. I took it how Smith took it. It's just revamping. That's how I took it too, Smith. Like, I thought it was just like, but you had some far extreme people who wanted to defund the police. I mean, like, in regards about abolishing the police, which was absurd. And I agree with Schubert. It's just like, you don't want this, over militarized police out here. It's not that necessary. And what Henry had to say earlier is right. I think a lot of times people don't realize it. Schubert would say this: people can't police themselves in some regards. And I just feel like since we lost the essence of what a community means, I just don't see how not having a police presence, how some people would like to have it, is beneficial. No,
I think that's dumb as hell. My fault.
Yeah. Go ahead. No, I was done.
Yeah.
I was done.
I think that's dumb as hell. That's like saying you don't need firefighters.
I was thinking the same exact thing.
What are you talking about? Like,
it's
so, what are you going to do when something happens, motherfucker? Like, shit.
Exactly, man.
Shit is just dumb as hell, bro. Like
unless
you need police. I definitely agree that with Black Zeus was saying with the training. I still think though for police to go into police and not necessarily understand their community, I think that's like a slap in the face for that community. And for you to also go in and be like, well, I gotta be a certain way because I'm in this urban environment, that's like fucked up too. So I think, like I said, just revamping, I mean, reteaching, and making sure that, like Black Zeus said, you don't need all that military shit, but make sure everybody fucking cameras are working, and that when you get out the fucking car, that shit automatically cuts on or something. Spend money for that shit. You know what I mean?
Real talk. I feel like they need to have the people who are going to be servicing the communities. Y'all need to spend some time in the community as part of your training. Whether y'all niggas rent an apartment, the police officers have them rent an apartment, live in whatever area. And it can be underneath the guise of, like, it doesn't have to be known like, oh, well, I'm a police in training. Like, no, nigga, I'm a resident who just moved in, XYZ. Let me get used to the people who I'm living with. Yeah. I mean, who I'm working with. Because if not, all you're going to do is have that perception. So that's been an argument for decades
now. Yeah, they've been saying that for a while. I remember they was doing an analysis of Newark police departments, and it was finding out maybe 40% of Newark police or 40 or 50% of Newark police don't even live in Newark.
Yeah.
But you know what, though? I think part of that, too, though, is they don't want you to live in the area that you're servicing just in case you run into the people who whatever issues when you off duty, because
that's not true. That is not true.
That is not true at all.
I'll give you an example. I live in Verona.
Black Zeus didn't mean.
Half the cops here in Verona live in Verona. I know them. I see them all the time. Their sons play football with my son. They operate and own other side businesses like the T-shirts and the hoodies and the paraphernalia for the football team and the lacrosse team. This, that, and the other. They coach the teams. They live and operate their businesses in the same town that they police.
Mm-hmm. And most officers do that. They don't necessarily do that in urban environments because it's an urban environment. Mm-hmm. But you have the thing like this, the same thing that they have with the teacher next door, firefighter next door, and police officer next door. They give you incentives to buy a house in that community and stay in that community. They would rather have police officers that live in their community, policing their community, than the fucking outsiders. Like, who the fuck would want somebody who actually lives in my community to police my community? You're going to do it differently because you're from here. You know what I mean? It's the same with teachers. So you have certain teachers that don't, they just drive into Newark and then they drive out of Newark, but they don't feel like they're part of Newark. And then they try to come teach a kid from Newark, and they really don't have that. You know, they have certain biases just because they are not in the community. You know what I mean? So I think that you would definitely want your officers to be from the fucking community. Why not? That's buy-in right there. You know what I mean? That makes it better.
Yeah.
But niggas like, I'm not living in Newark. Fuck that.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
So what do you guys think about the crime wave surge though? Like,
We got 1 minute left.
Oh, the crime surge? Well,
yeah.
I mean, where's that?
Look at the economic status of the country right now. How many
I was
people
about to
are
say, yeah,
unemployed? People are
that's the
just,
pandemic.
kind of scraping to get by, and
The weather is getting hotter.
Yeah.
And that's the
weather's getting
backlash from the
hotter.
pandemic.
Yo, nigga.
Motherfuckers been wanting to come out and kill a motherfucker for
I'm about
months.
to say.
And they have every opportunity. Like, I'm serious. Like, I've been sitting here itching to kill somebody. Like
wow.
I felt like I wanted to stab someone, and I haven't been able to stab anybody. I've been
Yo,
practicing
we
my
ain't been on. We
my
ain't been.
stabbing techniques, but I haven't
we
been able
ain't
to
been-
stab anybody.
You
Because
realize if a white person said that, if a white dude said that, we would get banned. Okay, like that would just be it. That'd be it. You getting
but
canceled.
that's what people are thinking about.
Man,
Yo,
sis,
Smith,
you
we
are
ain't been
funny
locked
as
in the
hell.
house like that. Nigga,
That's
we
what
ain't
motherfuckers
been-
been thinking about, yo.
We ain't been locked in the house like that, bro. We was able to go out the house and stab a nigga if you wanted to, bro.
No, you would get caught. It wasn't enough people milling around. So first of
Yo,
all,
next
you gotta
story,
look
bro.
at-
Time's up. Next story,
Let's
bro.
move on, because
Next
I'm
story,
getting
yo.
worried about Smith now. I'm getting worried about Smith's sanity right now.
But you
He
see,
about to get a whole rundown. First off,
most of those are happening in the subway system. They're not happening in supermarkets and shit.
Yo,
Think
Smith,
about where
stop.
these are happening. You know what I
Smith,
mean?
stop.
yes, next story,
You're
bro.
starting to tell
All right.
too much on yourself, man. You're starting to tell on yourself.
Oh my
All
god.
right, man. This is always dedicated to. I always love education teachers' stories because we got two, educators on this panel. So this is from Fox News. Baltimore City schools will not hold back failing students due to the pandemic. The Baltimore City School Board announced Tuesday during their meeting that the school system will not hold back students who are struggling and failing classes in the fall due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Rather than holding them back, the school system sided in favor of giving students extra time and individualized instruction plans to make up for gaps in their education created by the shutdowns and struggles with online and virtual learning. The chief academic officer for city schools, Joanne Drobowaski, called for the approach a multi-year educational recovery. Each student will be tested in the fall to determine what skills they have missed due to virtual learning, and the schools will create a plan for each student aimed to catch them up. Based on the input from the community, grading practice will be adjusted to provide personalized multi-year learning plan to support students in completing unfinished learning and allowing them to earn the credits that they need to graduate. High school students that are failing classes will receive a no credit for their grades.
Now, I think that's fair because, I mean, unless we were going to start the year off with the understanding like, this year isn't going to count, then you got to be able to give niggas you got to move them on. It's not our fault because of the pandemic. And yes, you can say, you got a lot of people who didn't show up and were no shows, but honestly, even a kid who showed up consistently, you still didn't receive the same quality education as the kid, as being in place. And it's crazy because, we're talking about like a lot of principals moving from one place to another within the district because they didn't do their job this year or their numbers were bad or whatever. And we just had a meeting on Friday that was saying the principals are asking for one more year reprieve. Like, how the fuck are you going to judge me on this year? Like, I look at my principal who tried a lot. We all tried a lot to get this attendance going. And these motherfuckers just still didn't show up. We did a lot. Teachers did a lot. So, I ain't even mad at it.
I concede my time. I really don't have. I'm interested what the rest of you guys have to say on this one. I concede. So if somebody want to talk,
let Schubert go next, Smith, because he's gonna try to take the extra time out. Go ahead, Schubert.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's how you feel. That's how you feel? Okay, real simple. I don't know the education system well enough to make a very informed decision or thought about it, but I think it's kind of putting a lot on a kid to say, hey, when you come back to school next year, you're going to be not in the 8th grade, in the 9th grade, and you're going to have to catch up the work that you did in the 8th grade while doing the work you're doing in the 9th grade. All right. When I was growing up, if you didn't do well during school year, it was called summer school. I don't know what happened to that, but like that would have made the most sense to me. That listen, you didn't, you fell behind. Summer school gives you an opportunity to catch up and be right on par coming in the fall. So that's all I have to say about it.
Okay, so I don't think that individual plan is going to work. So every student is going to have an individual plan. So roughly 25 to 30 students are going to have an individual plan. We have IEPs now, and motherfuckers don't follow that.
What's IEPs, real quick, Smith? I don't know what that is.
It's an individual education plan.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yeah.
My apologies.
So it's an individual education plan basically for a student. And that's not always followed, even though it's a law document, you're supposed to follow it. So a parent can always come in and challenge because you're not doing everything that's in this IEP. Because if you actually did everything that was in this IEP, it's more so being like a homeschool situation because there's so much in there, you know what I mean, that you got to do. And to have that times 25, that shit is a lot. But like the thing that Black Zeus said, I'm behind. So now I'm in 9th grade, but I'm on an 8th grade level. We're going to be playing catch up. I told you all when this shit started, we lost a year and a half of education. You're not going to make it back to bounce back off of something that you said, Black. They're not making that shit in 25 days in summer school because that's all summer school is 25 fucking days. So you're not making 10 months in 25 days. That shit's not happening. Like at the end of the day, parents have to become parents again, and they have to really educate their children. You can't just depend on the school system to educate your child.
You know what it is too, though, Smith?
You can't just depend.
I think they should make some form of summer school mandatory, at least for like the next 2 or 3 years, to allow them kids to catch up, because it won't happen.
Yeah, for years, because you're not going to do it in 25 days. 25 days is not going to make it. That's just not. You're not learning all these. This curriculum in 25 fucking days. Like that shit is just not happening.
Even if that means, okay, under normal circumstances, I'm a sophomore learning algebra 2. Now I'm a sophomore learning algebra 1. He's got to shift everything back 1 year.
Yeah, they got enough money that they could extend the school year, and they can also do Saturday programs for these kids and make them
fund the police
mandatory.
so you can fund the schools.
No, but they don't have to defund the police because through the pandemic they gave all the school districts a bunch of money.
But you know what else?
I'm just messing around.
You know what else, too, Smith? You got a lot of teachers who are not going to work summer school this year.
I was just about to ask that question in regards of what the mentality of teachers and parents are going to be like with that idea.
And just to be clear, summer school is in person. Like there is no remote option in Newark. But the teachers is feeling like, I'm burnt out. Enough is enough already. And even
fuck them whack ass teachers. I'm doing summer school just to let y'all know. So fuck them whack ass teachers.
I mean, but if I'm just saying from the standpoint of,
and I did it last year too.
I know, so, but if you try to get every kid on board, you need basically every teacher.
I know. So you have two things. So either the teacher has to now step up and do a lot more in the classroom, or they have to allow that to extend into the summer and Saturdays. Like you got to make a fucking choice, or you have to decide that teaching is no longer for you. Like it's about the child at the end of the day. Like it's about the child at the end of the day. Like we got to get these motherfucking kids back on track. Otherwise our country is going to be fucked up. Like we got to get them back on track. This is our future. We got to put it into our future. What the fuck? Like you got to do it.
That shit sounds good in theory, but that ain't the reality. And it's always been.
And that's what I'm saying about the theory with that individual education plan that Cash was talking about. That shit sounds good in theory, but that shit is going to have a lot of students in Baltimore fucking failing next year. That's what that shit is going to do.
Best thing to do is just push the curriculum back 1 year. That's it. You got to push it back 1 year if we're not going to be able to do it. Even though that shit is like changing shit forever.
Yeah, because you got the incoming kids starting.
The incoming kids.
You know, you got the incoming kids from
So the
kindergarten.
only one,
Now you're trying to push everybody back.
the only ones who could probably continue following that curriculum, I'd probably say, shit, maybe K-2. Maybe. Outside of that, everything else needs to be pushed back. So it's going to be that way. I mean, and to be safe, I probably wouldn't even, I would just start with the incoming kindergarten class. That's going to be the group that gets the same education how it was before the pandemic. Everybody else, y'all shit got to be pushed back 1 year or half a year. Like niggas in the whole year.
People get paid a lot of money to make those decisions. I'm not that person that get paid a lot of money. That's a hard ass decision. I don't see an easy way. And pushing the curriculum back, that's not the answer. That's not going to do it.
Let me ask a question.
It's an idea, but I don't see that working.
Would they have this many issues if they said, hey, instead of a 5-day a week school schedule, we did a 4-day a week school schedule and we go straight through the year?
I asked
like summers and all that.
Like, just do it.
Unless they're weak. But
you know why they're not going to do it?
12 months out the year.
Yo, I've asked that question before to teachers. Would you work year round?
Like everybody else?
If you could get a 3-day weekend. Nigga said no. They like having that extended time off. They like having to be like.
So once again, it's not so.
Man, it ain't about them personal. It's about changing the whole school. That's what I'm saying.
My whole thing is,
we don't care about them.
It's not about the teachers. So the teachers
exactly. It ain't about the teacher.
I have nothing but respect for the teachers, but at the end of the day, without them students, them teachers don't have a job.
So here's how they do it.
At the end of the day, it should be. You don't revolve the product around the employee or
it doesn't work like
around
that.
The customer.
So
this is what we're doing. And guess what? This is what we're doing. Like Shuba said, this is what we're doing. And as a teacher, you either getting on or you don't teach anymore.
I think it will work if they paid them more. It will work if they paid them more.
Damn, that was a good dialogue, fellas. I like that. Well, we'll see how that works out with Baltimore. All right, last news.
Keep me posted.
Yeah. Well, I'll try to follow up.
Cash ain't even trying with the transitions. All right, fuck him. Next story.
Next story. All right, this was on inflation. This is from the Wall Street Journal. Looking to buy a used car, expect higher prices, few options. Secondhand auto prices have hit record as both new and pre-owned vehicles are harder to come by. A months-long rise in used car sales have left bargain hunters with increasingly limited options on lots across the U.S. The average price paid for a pre-owned vehicle had hit a record of $25,463 in April. That's $2,800 higher than last month. The climb, which began last year, has surprised some dealers who say that they don't see the trend ending anytime soon. This is a quote from a dealership. What is normally a depreciating asset has now been an appreciating asset. It's certainly surreal, and I guess we can all agree that it's an anomaly. The surge is being driven in part by the global chip shortage, which is straining inventories on the new car side and leading more consumers to shop for pre-owned markets. So, I'm pretty sure everyone has gone shopping. You have seen eggs, bread, meat, all of the goods go up. And now we are seeing an increase in used cars skyrocketing.
Ask you up first.
All right. It's predicted. I think this goes back to a conversation that we had, and I forget which book we were talking about. We were talking about, China and how we have shipped everything to China. And now China has been this core center of importance to our ecosystem. And that's been to the detriment of the U.S. economy. Like, I don't think.
Myth of capitalism.
Was it the myth of capitalism we were talking about China? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, honestly, when you outsource jobs, this is the sort of thing we come across now. So now you have chip shortages, new cars are not being manufactured to the point. So now people are scrambling for used cars. It has a trickle down effect. But like with everything else, to wrap this up, I think people are just going to need to find higher paying jobs. It's unfortunate because it's not just the cars. It's everything else. My wife, I'm seeing the transactions now. I saw something for $200 at ShopRite. And I was like, yo, what the hell? But she comes home with 4 bags. And I'm like, yo, that's all you got? She's like, it is what it is. So That's inflation.
That's inflation. I think well, I don't know. I haven't looked at. I mean, I see a lot of not new cars. I see a lot of used cars that have been bought. I think people have used a lot of that stimulus money that they got to purchase a car. I think some of these cars are going to be going back in a few months because motherfuckers ain't going to be able to keep up with their payments. I'm just saying, this is what I'm seeing. But yeah, as far as the inflation of it, yeah, I can see that. I mean, shit, you're competing for houses and cars right now. Everything is competition right now. You know what I mean? So I can definitely see that. But would I pay that for a used car? Not me. No, I wouldn't pay that for no fucking used car. But whatever, I'm done.
The part I don't understand is if niggas ain't got nowhere to go, everybody's working from home. Why is there even a higher market for cars? Or is it that you can't? That cars are still available. It's just that the prices are higher. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like in a situation where you're sitting at home, working from home. I mean, granted, shit's open now, but I mean, there was limited activities on what you could do. How is it that like car sales are going up?
Because people was getting that down payment, Henry, with that stimulus money. That was a down payment, bro.
Yeah, but you ain't doing shit with it. I can kind of understand.
I'm getting a car.
Market. I can kind of understand the house market going up because, you know, niggas might be in an apartment with other niggas like, man, I'm not fucking with COVID. I'm about to just pay this high-ass price. You know, I might have been holding out for a house next year, but fuck it, I'll get it this year because I'm not trying to be in this little cramped-up situation living around all these people. But the car situation, I don't know. That shit don't make no sense.
Motherfuckers want to drive, man.
It's just a natural evolution of economics. Limited supply is always going to mean higher costs. That's just what it is. You know, we already know with everything that's happened with the money printing and the lack of jobs, inflation is inevitable. It's just a matter of when. It's not if it's going to happen. It's when it's going to happen and how bad it's going to happen. So I'm not really surprised. But at the same token, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing because, you know, real talk, you know, with all the cars that are on the road right now, no one's really hurting for a car. It's not like somebody's like, oh my God, my life is over without a car. You know, everyone's got one. Some people got two. I got a friend of mine who, you know, has a Mercedes in his, he has a Mercedes and a Lexus and went and bought a Maserati. Like, why? Yeah. Why?
Those depreciate hard too. Maseratis, they depreciate really hard in regards of luxury cars. But yeah,
that's just why. Yeah. You know what I mean? But that's just the thing as Americans. We you know, we consume.
So now the argument is, should minimum wage be increased? Because like for some folks, their wages aren't keeping up with inflation. So should minimum wage be increased to help with the burden of inflation?
Catch-22. Yeah. Because you raise minimum wage, guess what? Everything else has got to come up.
Go up. Yeah.
So
that's all that's going to happen.
You know, here's the reality. I'm hoping that some people are going to listen and hear it out. People got to stop making 3 and 4, 5 babies. That's just what it is. We got too many people consuming way too much.
You already see that's going down, though.
I mean, but not fast enough.
Well, nigga, it's been reported that the birth rate is going down in the last 2-3 years.
Yeah, but it's not going down fast enough. That's all I'm saying. Is the fact of like, you know, people are still like they're looking at the birth rate. They're looking at the birth rate in like overall, but like look at places like Newark, right? Part of the main reason why the tax is so high and this, that, is because all the kids, you know, and I'm honest, all the unplanned for unmarried, you know, single mamas out there popping babies and this, that, and the other, and they're filling them up into the school system. So now the school system's overloaded. You got to find the finances and resources to support the school system, the teachers, the infrastructure, and that raises the taxes, that raises the cost of living, that, you know, and then the people in the community are like, I don't have any money. You know what I mean? Then they got to sell out half the community for what do you call it? Gentrification in order to make that money back. Then the people that live there like, I can't afford to live here. It's a domino effect.
Or they have what that ruling, the
Yes.
Abbott versus the Abbott. I forgot what the law was, where basically you got other affluent counties funding for other,
Exactly.
under
Yeah.
counties.
So instead of you saying, listen, I'm going to be a responsible adult and only have as many children as I can financially support, I'm just going to make babies and let the society pay for it.
Yeah, because the Supreme Court is definitely not with that abortion shit. So you got to be mindful of having them babies now.
Listen, the answer is for them to give men a shot or a pill, of birth control. That's
Damn, Smith, that should have been the news story, right? Because Texas.
I thought you was going to do that one. Yeah,
because damn, I should have wrote that one down. Because Texas, real quick, guys, Texas, I think banned abortions after 4 weeks.
So hold on. Are we talking about this or not? Because you know how Smith get down.
My bad.
You always lead it in with the real quick.
Listen. First of all, Henry, if you have noticed
That's my
the last
fault.
few weeks, I've been different. So stop picking
Nigga, that's because we had a timer.
Nope, it hasn't. I've been stopping. You have not.
I take the ownership on that one. That was my bad. I should have never brought up the news story.
I know how to bring another story. I brought the story in when I said the Supreme Court is not going with those abortions. See, I know how to bring the story in.
Yeah. My bad.
And all I'm saying is, like Black Zeus said about 3 and 5 babies, I'm just mentioning that the Supreme Court ain't letting y'all have no abortions like that. So you better be listening to what Black Zeus saying. That's all. Stop having them kids like that because you ain't going to be able to get rid of them.
Apologies, Smith.
Yeah.
Oh, I accept apologies.
Oh, I
like written apologies better, but verbal is fine.
I'll send it to the group text. My bad, bro.
All right, well, that goes those 3 news stories for the week. Let's transition into the book. And my goddamn, my man Smith with the fucking collegiate fucking questions again.
For real. Smith needs to send his questions.
On purpose.
He needs to send his questions ahead of time, man. He needs to send his questions ahead of time. I'm not talking about, oh man, I'm about to send it right now.
With the collegiate scholarly ass questions.
But you don't have to do all the questions, though. You don't have to do all the questions. I just, I like.
Do you think of these questions as generally during the book, or is it while you're reading, or is it like reflection afterwards?
No, it's more of a reflection afterwards. Sometimes it depends. If like this one, I had to write notes because it was different stories, and I need to know, from drive my car to what's my man name? Oh, I love my man name, and I can't think of it right now.
Shahrazad is a chick.
No, not Shahrazad.
Zeno?
Gino? I think I got it in the question too.
Gregory Shah, or the dude who was in the hospital. Fuck, what was his name?
Gregor Samsa.
Yeah, who was about to fuck a hunchback.
I didn't realize my man.
Gregor Samsa, yeah.
He want to fuck a hunchback. Talking about, I don't remember. Bitch, you know what the fuck a breast look like.
I missed that part. I missed that part. My man was a bug starting out. Was he? I missed that part.
Yeah.
I missed it.
Yeah, he was a bug. Yeah.
Because I was thinking the whole time, what the fuck was this nigga before he was I missed that part.
Well, like the other girl, she was a lamprey before. I mean, they were lampreys. They were attached to the rock and just sit there and let the water move them. I'm looking at this shit like.
Maybe I was talking to the dog when that shit happened. I just remember the nigga woke up and was just like, okay, I'm butt ass naked. Because I'm thinking, I thought that was the whole premise.
Now he was coming out of his cocoon or some shit.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I missed that part.
All right. Well, we're wrapping up Mr. Henry's book, Men Without Women. I am not pronouncing this author's name, so if you want to chime in with how to pronounce this dude's name, go right ahead.
Haruki is the first name.
See, I knew. Leave it to Black Zeus to know these goddamn Japanese names.
Murakami.
with the samurai swords in the backdrop.
Murakami.
Nah, there's no samurai swords.
I can go get them.
Haruki Murakami.
Yeah.
All right. Which question should we start off with? Let's start off with Black Smith. All right, I was about to start off with yours, Black Zeus.
I'll finish with that one.
All right. All right. Which question you want, Smith? You got 3. You gotta pick one.
Start with the first one.
First one: acting or becoming somebody different. Is a major theme throughout the stories in this collection.
What's the 23, bro? Is that the page reference?
That was the page reference, yes. Because that was going back to the beginning. That was going back to the... Well, no, because I'm talking about, but Harry, I'm talking about the whole collection. I'm not talking about one particular story right now.
Page numbers.
All right.
If you about to teach a class, bro, is that what you about to do? You about to
yo,
have
that's what I'm saying. Yo, when you
shit.
read fucking questions, it feels like you're in college and shit. I'm like, God damn. All right.
Please go back to page 23.
In Yesterday, the narrator says that you can't just change your personality. Page 68. Nonetheless, many characters do try to reinvent themselves. Do you believe that it's possible to become a different person? What do the examples in these stories suggest? Go ahead. Who wants to chime in first?
Do you believe that it's possible to become a different person?
I don't know if it's possible to become a different person, per se. I think everyone has different facets to who they are. And depending on what the environment is or who they're interacting with, you'll see that different facet. So for instance, your wife is going to get the romantic facet of you while your coworkers are going to get the business facet of you. You see what I'm saying? So I don't think it's so much of being a different person other than showing a different facet of who you are.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I mean, I think
for me, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, good.
For me, I think you could have a different philosophy as you get older. You might not become intrinsically a different person, but your philosophy, I don't know, maybe that's a contradiction. But for me, I know personally, my philosophy has changed as I've gotten older in regards of how I see individuals, how I see communities. But for the most part, I've always kept core beliefs in a sense of, what I thought was right and wrong, but in regards of how I view life has certainly changed. So I don't know if that's becoming a different person, but I could say you could definitely change your, the way you see life as you get older.
Well, some of these individuals in the book, they became different people though, after they lost the woman in their life.
Okay.
Did they really?
They did. They when they lost some of these women, the one that wanted to kill himself, that ended up starving himself. He became different. He became a different person. Whatchamacallit, Gregor, he became a different person. And I say some people do become different people, like Rachel Dozier, and change their whole outlook and everything, their whole identity. Yeah. So it is possible to become a different person if you are wanting to be a different person.
So when I say I'm sorry. Go ahead, Cal. My bad.
I'm bad. I'm over here struggling to find this unmute button. I mean, I'll just say, in relation to having a woman change who you are as a person, I mean, I think that's possible. I think you could be naive and love struck or whipped at first, and then experience changes you into somebody different. Most of the time, though, when I think about it, I just think about niggas being rehabilitated. Maybe I was a criminal and, something happened and now I'm a different person. Maybe I was an alcoholic and then something happened and maybe I'm a different person. Funny, I just watched Flight yesterday with Denzel. Yeah, my man the whole time was an alcoholic who was just denying it. And then you can kind of tell at the end he became a different person. When it's like, damn, am I really about to lie about this chick here to stop myself from going to jail? And niggas like, man, fuck it. I'm about to just be different. So, I mean, it kind of takes a catastrophic event or something major to change you into a different person, but I think it's possible.
Yeah, I think most of the guys that were in the book, they were doing the catastrophic things, going through catastrophic events with the women.
Think about my man Smith, who was he working in corporate America, I think, or no, he was was he like an agent? Person. Yeah, and then changed to like the bartender.
Yeah.
I don't know that he changed.
Keno. Yeah.
I don't believe he changed who he was as a person. I think he just changed his profession. I think he was still that same. I think he was still the same person.
No, that was him changing the profession. That was him changing the profession.
Yeah, but some of us define ourselves by our profession.
That is true.
Like the doctor defined himself by him being a doctor.
By him being a doctor and his intellectual,
So that can be, a part of that change. But I still think it's the matter of like there are certain people that's just if it's in you, it's in you, and maybe it takes something to bring it out of you.
Yeah.
I've seen people change when they go through, let's say, boot camp or something, or they come in as just like, a video game knucklehead high school kid, and then 13 weeks later, they're a fucking killer. You know what I mean? And the whole thing is some people don't do it at all, and it's called fail to adapt. You know what I mean? And the thing is, it's in you and it gets brought out, or it's not there at all.
Or it's not there at all.
And you fall apart. I mean, it's kind of like when people bring up the whole issue about homosexuality. It's like, yo, that was in you, homie. Like, that was just how you was built. Nobody just, came around and said, hey, why don't you try this, and you're like, well, I've never had that before. No, that was in you. That was how you was built. You know what I mean?
Hold about what do you make?
Because the personality is the part that they were saying that you couldn't change. In a story yesterday, he was saying you can't just change your personality. If you want to change, you have to change all of you, because the personality, you can't just change that.
Yeah,
it's the core of who you are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. Next question. All right, we're gonna. You said save yours for last, Shu?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go into mine. In Zeno's story, it was mentioned that Zeno never experienced making himself or someone else happy. How was he able to get married if happiness was missing? And how common is this in all marriages? So it was very interesting when I was reading that, and like he finds this back bar, or he creates this bar in some creepy ass alley, and in this conversation he reveals that he was never happy after discovering his wife was getting her back blown out by a colleague, and that was interesting to me, because I'm like, shouldn't there be an ounce of happiness in order to proceed with marriage? And I would think so. And there was no indication that he was in an arranged marriage, because that's my first jump to conclusion on that was like, maybe he was in an arranged marriage, but like there was, no indication of that. So I just don't know how common that is for people to get married and never experience happiness. Maybe I'm that naive, and it's probably a lot common, but it was interesting that he saw that, or he experienced that.
So here's my 2 cents. Number one, she wasn't getting her back blown out. She was riding that thing. That's why he saw her bouncing breasts.
He
got the full frontal, okay?
Yes.
She was on top, okay? Let's get that straight.
My bad.
Power, okay?
My
She
bad.
was cowgirl on that bad boy, okay?
Yeah, that's how he saw the bouncing breast.
But the whole thing is that I think that it's not so much of that there was no happiness. It's more of the fact of like a lot of people get married not necessarily because this person is the love of their life. Like we romanticize stuff. Sometimes it's just a logical, like a good deal. It's like
a deal.
I trust me, I've met quite a few women who have married a guy because, well, he's got a good job and he's a nice guy, this, that, and the other, but he don't blow her back out, as you would say. You know what I mean? But the whole thing is, it's like, but he's a good guy, and he,
Tom,
and then,
that nigga Zeus me stop.
Yo, FYI, I don't think nobody, we might have to extend it for the book club to a minute and a half when we get to the book part, but that's a topic for a different day. Go ahead. But
we already at the book part.
But what I'm saying is like,
make it longer.
No,
look, listen. I said from the beginning that it was all up for the up to be adjusted. We just test it out, and then y'all give me some feedback. We could do.
I think the feedback because I wanted to know where Black Zeus was going with it, but
all right, give me 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
No, you could get the 30. Go ahead.
You know, she ends up marrying a guy that makes perfect sense. He's got the good job. He's a good person, this, that, and the other. But she get her back blown out by the asshole up the street with the big dick.
Well, you still got 20 seconds left, man. And you know what else?
Because I've been that asshole.
Oh yeah, you shared your asshole stories. Yes, we know this.
So that's what I'm telling you from experience. You know.
You know what else I need to change? I tried to do it, but the settings is jacked up. I wanted to try to share my screen so y'all can see how much time y'all got left, but it only lets the host do it.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to change the settings.
Nah, I don't even know how much time I got left. I don't want to see that.
So I'll say, thinking about your man Kevin Samuels, this dude really sheds light on like, marriage isn't necessarily about love. It's just more so like a partnership that benefits two people. Not saying that you shouldn't be in love with the person, but like that love isn't necessarily the
goal.
Yeah, the goal or the main reason why people get married. So, I mean, I think in a lot of situations, you might not have people who aren't happy. It's just like, look, I'm in a better situation than I was before. Maybe this dude came and saved me from another country. Sometimes if you get a chick from another country, you as the person who's, bringing them over, just know like, this is my trophy wife. She probably don't even love me like that, but she fine. I mean, I have nothing better, a better option. And, I kind of know what the situation is.
Yeah, I think, I don't know how common this is in all marriages, to go in like that, not being happy. But I think that a lot of people might also, or in this case, Zeno, even though he wasn't happy at that particular time, he thought once I got married, maybe I can find happiness later down the road. So some people could get married like that and figure like, I'm not happy now, but, later on down the road, I'll find happiness or we'll make this work out. I wouldn't marry anybody if I wasn't fucking happy, though. That shit seems dumb as hell. Like, if I'm not happy, I'm going into this kind of being miserable. Some people say that marriages make you miserable after a time. I didn't get to the misery part of my marriage, so can't say that. But yeah, you getting married and you're not happy? I don't know. But Zeno was different, man. Zeno was different. So
now, I agree with you, Smith. That was the perplexing thing to me. It's just like I could get having your issues in the marriage, but to say that you were never happy and you enter this marriage and like to have that expectation that maybe you could find happiness in the marriage is like, I don't know, that felt a little bit bizarre to me. And I get what you're saying. Yeah, and I get what you're saying, Kel, in regards of what Kevin Samuel says in regards of you don't have to fall in love. And maybe my question is love and happiness the same thing? Can you be happy and not necessarily be in love?
But you gotta remember, originally marriage was just simply a way for two families to bring their wealth together.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Love didn't come into the picture until about 200 or 300 years ago.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Right. So love is actually a new thing, but truth be told, when you go to get married and you fill out that marriage license, it's basically a business deal. It's the corporation of Pradley Cassius and the corporation of, I forget your wife's name, but let's say Marie Johnson or
Brittany. I might get a second wife, Brittany.
So they're now merging and becoming Pratt and Britley, Cassius, Incorporated. And now when you want to get divorced, because they don't give a damn if you're in love or not, you want to get divorced. They're like, all right, well, listen, to break up this merger of these two companies, you got to come to court and we'll decide how the merger is going to get broken up. That's essentially all it is on paper. Yeah. That love stuff is in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, well...
I would think they would still want to be happy though. Shit. Like,
yeah, exactly.
That's I gotta be in love, but I at least want to be happy. Like, damn.
Yeah. Well, listen, it depends on the culture. Depends on the
depend on
culture.
the culture. Yeah.
I mean,
I
when you think about happiness too, it's just not that you're not happy in your life. You just may not be happy with that person. So it's like, okay, I'm not necessarily the happiest with this dude as my husband, but I also am happy about the fact that now I can live in a house and in the best situation when I was before, and not necessarily work as much and so on. So it's like give or take. Like,
Yes.
I tolerate you. I'm not in love with you. I'm
I
not
tolerate
happy
you.
I'm not happy with our marriage. Like as far
But
as
could you be
how I
happy
feel
with the
about you.
arrangement? At least that's happiness. Like you're happy with the arrangement. Let's say you're not in love, but you're happy that he's a provider, she's a domestic, home taker. Can you at least be
Yeah.
happy with that?
People are happy with that all the time. It's just the fact of what people are not necessarily happy with is the emotional aspect. And the whole thing is emotions are fleeting. They come and they go.
Come and they go,
Like,
yeah.
you could love your wife in one moment and want to choke her out in the next and then still love her again an hour later. All right.
That's true.
If we went by emotions, people would be getting divorced every 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It just came because Zeno was never happy. And that was
He was never happy.
Yeah, that was the interesting part about it. But
I don't
That
know
he
if I
was
believe
never
that.
he said he was never happy and he never made anyone else happy ever.
yeah.
I don't know if I believe that, because towards the end of the story, he confessed that he was hurt, that he was hurt deeply. So there had to be something there in order for him to be hurt. Because you're not going to feel pain about somebody you don't give a fuck about.
That don't mean that he was happy though.
Really?
I don't know.
Because he said he wasn't. He said he was never happy. Like that's what he said.
Yeah.
And yeah, he felt hurt. He felt hurt because he was like, "Damn, no more bouncing breasts." But
You never bounced on me like that.
Yeah, like I don't know. It just seems. I hate where Cash is coming from. It just seems weird that he's like, I'm getting married, but there's no happiness. But I'm just gonna get married because down the road we'll find it. But,
yeah, that's a huge gamble, man. Which I don't know. All right, well, we're gonna get into Black Zeus question. What makes a man incomplete without a? Oh shit, my bad. Let's get into Kels. Was Shahrazad sick?
I knew you was gonna do that.
Yeah, bro. Shahrazad, whatever. Shahrazad. Sick
Smith.
or
Smith, listen, Smith. Do you think
is that the coconut Ciroc?
Smith? Are we experts at pronouncing names because we educators, bro?
Yeah, I see a lot of students.
I got kids.
We see a lot of
kids with
names
messed
that
up
have
names.
been created.
Exactly.
We see a lot of names that have been created.
And then you got Black Zeus, who like
that
Japanese samurai sword, so he got a leg up on this book.
Listen. I like my anime.
I knew you.
Are these really? Are these Japanese?
Butcher that name, though.
Are these? Keeper, are these Japanese names though?
Yes.
Yes, every one of these names is Japanese.
Sir.
Kind of feel like I know a Shahrazad. Go ahead, Cash. My bad.
Shahrazad sounds like a Pokemon character. No disrespect to any Japanese.
That's Charizard. Get it.
Dang, that nigga shoe was going hard, bro.
I told you I'm into my anime. Don't judge me.
But I was close though. I was close.
This one here's a table slapper. I gotta get that for every time this dude go off.
You had a Shahrazad at Flag, yo.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, you had a Shahrazad at Flag. That's why you
had a Japanese student at Flag?
Nah, bro.
He wasn't Japanese.
That's why I was asking.
Was that
really
Indian.
a Japanese name?
Yeah, he was like Indian. Mm-hmm.
But that makes sense because they're in the same continent.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's South Asia versus
Yeah, he was Indian. Charizard. Yep.
Yeah, bro. I'm used to dealing with fucking Johns and Bryans at my job, bro.
Indians are just brown, Asian people. That's it.
If only I could be so lucky.
On some real shit, bro. And like even
Bryant and John.
and even the fucking now recently we're more accepting of these of our Indian counterparts' names, like actual native names. But for a long time, they used to adopt, the American name. Like I had a dude named, his name was like Raj some shit. This motherfucker wanted to be referred as Billy. Out of all, I'm like, I don't even know where he got the name Billy from. There's
I thought
nowhere.
he wanted to be Ralph. He wanted to be Billy. Damn.
He wanted to be named Billy, but his name, bruh, was straight up Indian. Like
that might be his American name.
That's what it was. So
you get
a lot of Asian people do that.
A lot of
Asian people.
So I never got the ability to like
Africans
understand how to
yeah,
pronounce these names because they would do that shit. Like to say, a lot of folks would do that shit.
Oh, listen, that's why you got black folks that are like, you know what? I want to adapt my African name.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's gonna get You got educators and the anime watchers like got a leg up. Anyway, Shahrazad, was she sick or adventurous?
Was she sick or adventurous?
I'm gonna say homegirl was sick. Was sick. Like
she kept flashing back to her youth, right? Like was that?
Yeah, but the simple fact is she was, it was like you breaking into homeboy's house, you stealing a pencil, you leaving a tampon. Like that's the little sick part. Yeah, that's the sick part.
It wasn't used. It wasn't a used tampon. It was an unused.
And then okay, maybe you do it once. That makes you adventurous. But then the fact that it's turning you on, and you doing it again.
Wait, she wanted to leave her underwear though first, right?
Yes.
Look.
But they saw you, and she was like, "I can't leave my." Yeah, they was juicy, and she like, "I can't use my moist."
Not anymore though.
That's good. I can't leave these moist panties in here because that would be rude. So I'm gonna leave this tampon.
Let me know. Let me know when I can start the clock again. Because I paused my fucking time.
I'm sorry, Henry. I just wanted to find out, I wanted to make sure this was the right story. Yeah. That's all.
But just them actions right there. If you do it once, then okay, I can say you could be adventurous. But the simple fact that it's like, okay, not only am I doing this more than once, but now it's like, turning me on, and like that's the part right there that's like too much. And I don't think all your screws can't be there for that one. Tom.
I don't know. It came across as typical. Well, I don't want to say typical teenage behavior, but like people have. When you go through a crush stage, at such a young adolescent age, you just do weird shit like that. I didn't find anything. Yes, breaking into somebody's home is quite crazy, but like I don't know. As I was listening to the story, because I wasn't physically, as I was listening to the story, it just came across as typical teenage trying to find their sexuality behavior. So I wouldn't say
she was 14, right?
Yeah, she was 14.
Yeah.
And the young man was 14. So it was just like, I don't know. Would I have done this at 14, breaking into well, obviously there's a double standard in regards of how young boys could express their infatuation for a young lady versus who I can't necessarily find myself breaking into a young lady's house, but I don't know. I just felt that she was just understanding her sexuality, and I think she just expressed it in that way. Clearly she got over it, as most teenagers would do over the course of time. They just go through a weird phase.
Did she though?
Go ahead,
I don't know if she got over it, but I definitely think she was more hold up,
my bad.
Let me share my points. All right, point number one is the fact that this girl needs therapy. All right, she needs therapy. That's just what it is. The only thing that stopped her from continuing this, sociopathic behavior was that the door lock got changed.
Yeah, the mom changed a lot.
All right, if not, it would have. And she knew she could not stop herself. That she was addicted, and she just kept pushing the limits over and over again. All right, the girl needs help. All right, we wouldn't accept this behavior from, like you said, like a young man. We wouldn't accept this behavior from an adult. So it's not acceptable as a young girl either. The whole thing is she needs some therapy. She needs some help. And obviously the fact of like, she could be like, oh, I'm, going to my patient's house and fucking his brains out and this, that, and the other, while giving him his nursing drugs and then going home to my husband and cooking and cleaning fucking, and like, how many other patients she doing this with? The girl needs help.
Yeah, but they in the independent organ and Shahrazad, they actually both said that love sickness was an actual medical condition. Okay, and that love sickness that she was going through was an actual medical condition based off of.
She got 3rd degree condition. Okay, she's not like basic lower level. Like, oh, I keep staring at him. She's breaking into his house and getting naked in his room.
Yeah, she was sick. She was sick. She wasn't.
She was really sick.
Yeah, she was really sick.
Go ahead, Smith.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. She was really sick. I'm pretty much done. There's nothing to add on to it. She was sick. Like I said, in the book, it was saying that, the independent organ and Shahrazad, both of those were actual medical conditions of love sickness. She was sick. She wasn't adventurous. She was sick. And that's how she handled her shit. And like you said, Cash, you can't do that because you're going to go to jail for rape. Breaking in the house and doing some bullshit like that. So, yeah, that's all. I'm done.
All right. My man, we still got a lot more time, so we might get through a couple of more Smith questions. We do got to rate it and all that shit. All right. Last question. Supposedly, what makes a man incomplete without a woman?
I am still thinking about this question.
I know too, because I don't want to say I don't need a woman and shit. Like I'm not, needed for basic reproductive reasons and shit.
Reading these different stories, right? Reading these different stories. When each one of these men came into part with a woman. So with the actor, he had a bunch of friends. He had a different lifestyle. Then he had found his wife, and all of a sudden his friends kind of fell to the wayside, and his wife became his life. In the second story, the guy never wanted to be locked into this girl. Like she just was not a fit for him. Yeah. In the third story, the doctor is, falls in love with this woman that you just like, why her? Like she's not nothing special. Such a player. Then in the fourth story, my man, completely gets, screwed over, but maybe it was never a good fit in the first place, but he was still hurt. In the, now you got me messing up her name,
Shahrazad,
the Shahrazad story. Like, this man was more interested just to find out more about this woman's stories than actually tie her down to be his. And the story of the guy who wakes up, he kind of found his misfit counterpart in the Hunchback, and in this final story, the guy's like, all these women are killing themselves, but none of them became his wife. They never fit. So he's just like, well, why are these chicks always killing themselves? Boils down to what I think it is that, once, we may be who we are individually, and then we find this woman that fits the things that we come up short on. So maybe you're disorganized, she's more organized. Maybe, you're aloof, she's more stable, or whatever the case may be. And because of that fit, you've become attached to that because now you feel complete, even though you never felt incomplete before this woman. So now that she fills in these gaps in who you are, when she's no longer there, there's now you feel the incompleteness. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, sort of like you never really.
Well, hold on, but you never got the impression with the Hunchback chick, the Hunchback. Was she a nurse? What was her occupation? That she
was a locksmith.
She was a locksmith.
She was a locksmith. Yeah.
What was she a nurse? What was her occupation that she came to change the lock? She was a locksmith, Fred. Pay attention, man.
Yeah.
No, I was just trying because he was in a hospital, so it was like I was just trying to remember her occupation again. But
he wasn't in the hospital. He was in the house.
Oh yeah,
she was changing a lock. What the hell, Cash? What?
My bad.
You're mixing up the nurse story of Shahrazad.
My bad. But either way, they did not reconnect again, though. right?
Not the end of the story, but she said she might come back. The
She
whole
might
thing was
come back.
he felt a connection with her as a misfit. She was a misfit. He was a misfit.
He was a misfit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's more so you don't really know. Not you don't really know what you have till it's gone, but you never really knew that you was missing something until like you actually get with somebody. Like I know a lot of times, even with like myself, my wife and I are different, but we complement each other that way. And then there's just like a lot of shit that she'll do for me that makes my overall life easier. Like, yeah, I could have did this shit. I could still get by, I could still survive without it, but doing it this specific way or the way that she does it, kind of makes it a lot easier. So I just look at it like, it is interesting to look at it like, okay, does that mean that now I'm 100% complete? Or did I just like, did her addition make me more complete? Or did her addition make me, move other parts of me around?
Yeah,
that I can fit more, in and become complete like that. I don't know. It's just,
Well, hey, Kel, would you feel incomplete without her?
Now, I mean, when
now.
Yeah.
No, I know probably now. Yeah, I'm just because that question. I like that question, Black Zeus, but that still makes me thinking about
Well, the whole thing is,
a man being incomplete without the woman.
Like I gotta be honest, like me personally, I'm an individual type of dude. I'm more of a solo dude and more of a alpha type, whatever you want to call it. But I have to admit, my wife gives me a balance that I never knew was needed.
Gotcha.
If that makes any sense. Like, where it's just like, so for instance, I'm a business dude, but like I hate administrative stuff. My wife sucks with math, right? But she's great at doing the administrative stuff.
Yeah.
This, that, and the other. You know what I mean? Like, like if I wash the laundry, she folds it. She cooks, I do the dishes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she take care of the inside the house, I take care of the outside the house. Like she gives me that.
Is he frozen?
Yeah, he looks frozen.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was like, what happened? I thought I did something.
No, so the whole thing is, it's like without her, I would feel that imbalance because the fact of now that she's in play, it took my game to another level. But had it been with a different woman, I might be completely all fucked up. You know what I mean? So it's a matter of finding that right puzzle piece.
Yeah. Yeah, because have you ever told your wife that she completes you now? Have you ever said that to her?
All the time.
Oh, okay. You haven't said that yet, though, Henry, have you?
Yeah, not in those exact words, because it sounds like one of those little corny movies.
No, because it's kind of with the question that Black Zeus just said. He was talking about the incomplete, so I'm just saying, have you ever said that to your wife, that you actually complete? You know what I mean? Like, my wife completes me, because he's saying without the women, these men are incomplete in a sense. So I was just asking if you ever said that to your wife.
I've never said not those exact words, no.
It's actually funny because I was thinking about that when Kel said, I tolerate you. It's funny. That's the inscription on the inside of my wedding ring. That me and my wife kind of have like an inside joke where it's like we say, I tolerate you. I mean, the fact that we put up with each other's bullshit because we love each other. I mean, like anybody could deal with your good stuff, but can they deal with your shitty shit? You know what I mean? Like, and everybody comes with some sort of bullshit. So sometimes that's the balance you need. It's somebody that can not only deal with your good, but also your bad.
All right.
No, it just had the date. We ain't had no saying in my ring. It just had the date. I love you. I was just looking at mine. I was like, what was this? What was this? Yeah, I don't see that. But yeah,
I think mine has "I love you" and it has the date.
The date,
engraved into it. Yeah.
Nah. When I show people the inside of my ring, they freak out. Like, why would you say that?
Well, that's good that you guys have that humor and have that understanding of each other, and I think that's what most successful marriages have. It's just something that you guys know know about each other that the rest of civilization don't know, and that's a wonderful thing if you could make it work and make it last for as long as you guys are in existence. My wife completes me. I told her that shit. I don't know where, like, in a lot of ways I often say, like, I don't know where I would have been without her, and I say that in a sense of like she's stabilized me because like I have wild tendencies. Shit,
she kept your ass grounded. I can tell you got wild tendencies.
You know what I mean? Shit, I could be in a ditch somewhere with honestly, bro. Like I could, because you know what it is. I could find myself with the wrong. Not saying like with like real bad people, but like I could find myself with the wrong group of people and just wild the fuck out. That's all I am. Like I could
hanging out with them right now.
Yeah, like I could be in Vegas and y'all could amp me up like, yo, Cash, bet $1,000 on this crap game and shit, and I'll do it without no hesitation and shit. Like I don't give a fuck. Like it is what it is. I'm that type of adventurous type of dude. Like
you're that type of dude. Yeah,
yeah, I'm that type of dude. So now,
Brad, you should invest $1,000 into a share of Fitness 365.
Yeah, it's just like, all right, I'm down for it, and I wouldn't even think twice about it. Now it's like I got to think about her. I got to think about our future and stuff like that. So it's like that sort of grounding stability that she's provided for me, and I think it worked out very well because who knows, man. I probably would have got the wrong chick knocked up by now. I don't know. I with her personality in particular, it's done wonders in regards of who I am as a person, though, man.
Cass said I've been a ditch. That's just funny.
That's some real shit. Y'all all wild.
You made me nervous. You made me nervous.
Oh, I know. That's all. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
I'm glad she anchored you down.
Like if I had Matt Smith single and he sing, bruh, I could honestly just be out here wilding and not giving a fuck.
Hey. Well, then I'm glad I did all that before my wife. You know?
Like on some real shit. Like it's nothing, man. I see some of my boys now who are just now settling, man, and it's crazy the wild rides they've gone through. And I could have been along that same ride, and it's just like
that same ride.
Yeah, and shit, like my wife, she's the one who scheduled my doctor's appointment. I don't even do that shit.
Yeah,
that's terrible.
I know.
Oh, my wife introduced me to avocado toast.
It's
a charcuterie board.
And it's a charcuterie board.
Yeah, it's a charcuterie board.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull a Schubert here. Think of Myth of Male Power.
Yeah, so it's like as much shit we talk about women and people like to talk about women, man. Women play an important role in our development, bro.
No. Let's be specific about that. The right.
No,
woman.
I'm not the right woman.
See,
the
problem is not that women. It's just the fact of all women want credit for what the good women do, but nobody wants to own up to the fucked up shit that
not at all.
Nobody want to, but men are supposed to own up for all the bad shit that men do. Yeah. That's the crazy part to me. It's like we're supposed to own up for all the bad shit, all the rape, all the 1%ers that make all the money, that have all the highest jobs.
All that's the like deadbeat dads. Yeah.
All the deadbeat dads. I'm like, that ain't 89% of us, right? Yeah. 89% of us don't fall into that category, right?
Exactly.
But we all gotta carry that weight. How does that make sense?
Because that 11% is still millions of people.
Hey, listen, you carry that 11%, bro.
That's still millions of people.
Shoot.
I'll carry that shit for every man, nigga. I'm married. So I don't give a fuck about them bitter ass single bitches.
I still care about the ghetto ass single bitches over here. I'm just saying.
Hey. Listen, all I'm saying is if 75% of these chicks is, pregnant and or single baby mamas, and only 51% of men are 51% of black men do not have kids. That means y'all 75% chicks are getting knocked up by the same 49% of dudes. Like
they're sharing the same dick.
Damn. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's
Thanks
crazy.
for that.
Like my wife.
Thanks
My
for
wife
that
was
picture, Black Zeus.
well,
That's
like yo,
crazy.
on some real shit. My wife said that she's glad that she didn't grow up in Virginia because her pops is her pops was a Rolling Stone, and there's a lot of Ritleys down there, and she's just like, yo, I'm so glad that people she just didn't want to inadvertently date one of her cousins because that happened.
Oh shit! Damn.
That does happen down there.
Yeah,
Fuck.
man.
That
That dude
sucks.
had yeah. He was a Rolling Stone, man.
That does happen down there very commonly. I mean, when you live in a town where it's only like 500 people living there,
Yeah.
creepy.
All right, well,
what's the rating? What's the rating?
let's get into the ratings.
I'm going last since this was my book.
All right, shit. I'll go first then. I give it a 3. The stories were interesting. It kept, once again, I'm not the hugest fictional person, so a lot of times, I drift off when it comes to like the excessive descriptions of shit. I'll be like, God damn, just tell the story. But I guess that's part of the story. But the stories in itself were interesting though. Some of the characters were really interesting. But it was a solid 3. I was like Schubert last week. I was hoping that there was gonna come like a connection with all of these guys and all of these women, but it didn't happen.
There was only like one connection.
Hey, Cash.
Yeah.
What? But wait, there was which one? Black Zeus?
It was
Because that's what I was about to ask. The first story
when the actor met up with his wife's
Lover.
ex hookup.
Okay,
whatever. They
that
met
one.
They met up at a side bar with an older guy playing records with a cat sleeping in the corner. That was
the Zeno's bar. Yeah, Zeno's
That's
bar.
when the Yakuza came. Okay,
Yeah,
but okay. So the dude that left, right? The dude that left and had the sushi shop.
Yeah. The guy who just wanted homeboy to date his girl. Yeah.
There was another story about the guy Kino was told to move away and only send postcards and not. Did that go back to the other story, or did you all miss that?
I definitely missed that.
So remember, Kino, the guy told him to leave, and to write postcards to his aunt and to the young lady.
Yeah.
And to never address it.
Oh.
Yes.
And he couldn't help himself, and he did write.
He couldn't help himself, and he did it to the aunt. Yes.
Yeah. Oh.
So there is a connection with that, right?
Well, hold up. I'm trying to think.
Because
was homeboy named Kino though?
That's the only problem. That's why I'm asking you all, because I didn't go back for enough.
I'm not sure. I know what you're talking about though.
Because he was sending postcards the same way that the dude had told him to send postcards.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bump that rating up, bro.
And that he actually told him, you gotta move, you gotta leave, you gotta get out of here. And that's what he did. He like leave your job.
Yeah.
And that's what he did.
That's what he did. And in that story, there wasn't.
And it came back. It came back later in this story. It came back later.
Oh shit, that's a good one, Smith. Oh sure. It could be, yeah. All right, so for the 6 stories have a connection, quite possibly. Because I don't know how the doctor story connects with anybody.
No, I think you said 4 to 6. Shit, I'm still thinking like maybe 2 of the 6 though.
2 of the 6,
and that's the one that the first one, the acting in that one.
In that one, okay.
Yeah,
but I give it a 3. It was good. It was entertaining enough to keep me interested to see where it all went.
Yeah.
Married Without Women. It was different for me. I definitely would not have picked this one, Henry. But yeah, I'm going along the lines of 3. We can't give halves. Thank you, Henry. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the 3. I'm not quite at the 4 that I like the but yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3. Overall, it was an interesting read. But the guy uses the writer, the author, he uses a lot of alliteration and shit in animals. So if you're not used to him writing like that, or used to him and knowing that he writes like that, that's where that whole bug shit came in. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was cool. It gives me something to talk to the Japanese girl about.
Yo, Shu, are you muted? Black Zeus, are you muted?
Nah, he's not muted. Henry muted.
No, but I see him moving his mouth, but...
Oh, no, we can't hear you. Yeah, you moving your mouth, but nothing's coming out. Like a lot of these chicks. Just bury myself, right? Just dig the hole bigger and bigger. All right. No, we still not hearing you, man. You got a whole malfunction.
It's all good. I'll go because I'm about to run up in this ATM anyway.
Get me some too.
Talk with my mask on.
Man. Let me get
I'm
get
going
like $200, bro.
Yeah, you some me some.
I'm going 4 out of 5, man.
Oh, look at that, Henry.
But you know, narrative. What's that? The fiction books is my shit.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that I didn't like is the fact that they didn't connect. But it kept my interest because, you know, one story ended and then another one started.
Yeah.
So
they didn't have to connect. It was short stories.
They were short stories. They didn't have to connect.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And, you know, it did show a lot of...
Is that a mask, nigga? What are you? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Oh.
I like the fact that, you know, he didn't deal with the same type of loss every time. It wasn't always a dude's fault. It wasn't always a chick's fault. So, you know, 4 out of 5, man.
Hold up. Like at least in 3 of the stories, the chicks were grimy, bro. They all cheated.
Yeah, but it wasn't always. There were 7 stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were cheating.
They were cheating, bro. Make me
But that's
a lot of cheating going on.
A lot of cheating going on.
He mixed it up, though. In some of the stories, there wasn't cheating. In some of them, there was. Don't worry, there was sex in every single one of the motherfuckers. But it wasn't always a chick's fault. Nigga, 3 out of 7 means majority of the time it wasn't the chick's fault.
No. But these chicks, when they did cheat, the majority of the times it was the women's fault.
Yeah. I'm cool with that.
You cool with that? Okay.
Nah,
cool.
Black Zeus, we still don't got you, man. You off.
I think he's having a different conversation.
Yeah.
He look like he's just...
You gotta put up your fingers and give us your rating finger-wise. Not the middle one. He gave us a 3.
He gave us a 3.
Type it in the chat.
You said type it in the chat.
No,
did he just tell you that his wife is the administrative?
Yeah, she was gonna be typing some long ass shit. Anybody got no time for that?
Yo, our Shuba joint just go off. Oh, you came in and out. Shu. It was like, can you? And then you went out again.
How about now?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. I don't know what's going on. Technical problems. But anyway, I give it 3 out of 5. I don't fault the chicks or anybody for cheating. This, that, and the other.
The ATM. Smith, look at Miss. Look at Miss Thomas, Smith.
Hey, Miss Thomas.
That's Mr. Smith.
You crashed?
Nah, she over there. She wants you to see her car.
Hey, what's up, Miss Thomas? Look at that car.
Let me put my mask back on. She playing games. Y'all
got a lot of money. All y'all at the meeting at the ATM on a Sunday?
I don't got corona.
You don't got corona. Miss Crazy Ass Thomas, how you doing?
That lady be sleeping in there.
Let me see if I can hit the button. Let me go ahead, y'all. My bad. Go ahead, mute.
All right, so I give it 3 out of 5. I'm not gonna take shots at somebody for cheating because, like, you know, I just don't think it's realistic to just think like everybody's supposed to be perfect and no one's ever supposed to have any infidelity. I thought the stories were interesting and intriguing. The only shortcoming I felt was like some of the short stories just left you with no real closure, such as Keno's bar left you with no real closure on what happened to Keno or why he had to go to these hotels, or, you know, like there were some things that just left you with no closure. But other than that, I thought they were very intriguing and very creative stories.
Yeah. See, this is why I be fucking up the pronunciation.
And Keno,
So,
Keno could fight
Keno
too.
is spelled Zino, but yet it has a CH pronunciation. This is why I don't understand foreign names, bro. This is how I be fucking it up.
This is true, but the whole thing is, the reality is, that is the difference in every. So, for instance, if you had a German, like the word WAVE, you know, how do you pronounce that?
WAVE, wave.
Yeah. See, in German, the W is pronounced as a V, so it'd be Viv.
See, I would have fucked that up.
It'd be
And if you, you know, and you know, so if you know, so you would. And like, or if you're speaking Spanish, you know, JOSE is, you know,
Jose.
Ho is Joe's, but
Joe.
you know, in Spanish it's Jose.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, it's all subjective.
It's all subjective. But no, I don't know if you heard Smith's connection though. Keno sound like the dude from the second story who wanted to hook his boy up with his girl. That connection, and that sounds like an interesting connection. I don't know if they're the same characters, but I don't know if you heard how much Smith had to say about it. But it does.
I heard what Smith had to say about it, but the whole thing was Keno was sending the cards
to his aunt.
To his aunt.
But
and
who's to say he didn't send it to his girl?
Story, he was sending it to his ex-girlfriend.
True, but he could have also.
But no. But he was writing to the ex-girl. He was writing to an ex-girl too.
Keno.
Because the guy told him that he only could send it to his aunt and the girl. But to never address it, to never put anything on it.
Yeah.
There could be a tie there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he told him never put anything on it. But Keno just couldn't help himself that one time. He was like, man, I'm losing myself. I need to put my name on here because I don't know. So
basically, Keno would be an older version of the young guy from yesterday.
Yes.
Who was knocking on the door at the end of the in Keno's apartment, whoever it was?
It wasn't somebody knocking on the door or knocking on the window. It was his own heart.
His heart kept beating and shit.
His own heartbeat. Like he wasn't, you know, he was forced to listen to his own pain and endure his own pain. So, which would make some sense because the guy in yesterday was trying to avoid attachment in the first place. Mm-hmm. So here was Keno who finally got attached to someone possibly, and he was hurting.
And he was hurting, yeah.
And maybe he never wanted to truly be attached to somebody to not be hurt. So who knows? Maybe.
Because when he said, now they outside the window, how did they get on? And I'm like, oh, yeah, he listening to his own goddamn heartbeat. Like, like they just went from the door. Now they outside my window hanging on the wall. They're trying to get me. It's like, that's your heart.
Well, I'm not going to lie. My mind went elsewhere. I just started thinking demons. And
that's yeah. At first, I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on?
Because I was like, yo, was this dude at the bar? He was like a guardian angel or something. You know, he's like, just go far away. Don't come back until the rain season has fallen. You know what I mean? Like all the snakes are a symbol. I was like, what kind of demonic shit is this?
Yeah.
You know, because cats in
Egyptian
like it's kind of weird because like cats in Egyptian history are a sign of protection. They're guides to the underworld of death, you know, and snakes have been seen as, you know, actually more holy than most other animals because they have such a close connection to the earth because they lay and run on the earth and this, that, and the other. I mean, you can get really esoterically and philosophically deep on this stuff. It's like it can really get mad.
Yeah, and the cat, like you said, because the cat died or something. Something happened.
No, the cat stopped coming around.
Yeah, it stopped coming around.
And then the bar fell apart. The cat stopped coming around. And
that's why I said like, if you look in Egyptian history, cats were a sign of protection from evil spirits. So it was real interesting. You know, it was really interesting.
All right, well.
And they was trying to play him out in his bar and shit.
Oh yeah, he was gonna get jumped. He was about to get smacked until that Kamaza, whatever his goddamn name was, interfered and fucked him up. Came back all spotless.
You start kicking their ass.
Yes.
Whose turn is it to pick the next book?
Goddamn you,
Bradley.
Yeah.
Bradley.
It's between 3 books, man. They're all 3 different books, so I'm not too sure. One is a memoir by Iceberg Slim, Pimp. I don't know if you ever.
Yeah, Iceberg Slim.
Yeah, Iceberg Slim.
Is that fiction or not? Is it told like a story?
It's his life. It's his life story. It's an autobiography.
I think
It's something controversial.
Huh?
I read it.
You read Pimp?
Yeah, I read.
Pimp? Yeah, I read that one too.
You read Pimp? Okay.
Yeah.
Scratch that on. When the hell you read Pimp, Henry?
Henry don't look like he read Pimp though.
Yeah, exactly.
I did. That shit was way back in the day.
Come on,
so
Cass.
you trying to get your Mac?
You
trying to pick your Mac lesson? Okay.
It was a good book.
Actually, he's got some pretty good, profound, like business perspective as well as like.
But that's what I heard too. That's why I wanted to make that a book selection. But damn, 2 y'all already read the book. The other one when violence is necessary.
When violence is necessary.
I'm kind of intrigued.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. I'm like, when is it necessary? Is violence necessary?
I think soon as, according to Smith, as soon as they open up the gates from COVID, nigga, violence is necessary.
The shutdown's over. Somebody about to die. I'm telling you, if the purge goes down. If the purge goes down, Smith is gonna be the first one out there. So y'all already know.
Yo, Smith
is getting ready
crazy,
for the
bro.
purge.
This motherfucker said, "Yo, COVID got a lot of niggas with pent up anger trying to kill somebody." Like what?
He said people gonna be in their house during the lockdown, shining up their guns and their knives. As soon as this lockdown is over, somebody gotta die.
Somebody got to die. As soon as they let me out this house. What was the third one, Cash?
And shit, hold on. I had it in my watch list.
When violence is necessary.
Oh wait, correction. The answer, the book title is when violence is the answer, not necessarily when the violence is the answer.
When violence is the answer.
Yeah.
Anytime you piss me off.
That was a leading one, and then another one is like a medical book. Basically, the price we pay, what broke American healthcare, and how to fix it.
I like the violence. We go with the violence.
I want to go with the violence book.
All right. So
I want to go with the violence book.
so that's what we're gonna go with. When violence is the answer, I'm gonna share the screenshot of the book.
When violence is the answer.
And then it's a short book. It's 6 hours and 7 hours in honesty. And I'll break down the chapters that we're gonna have to follow though. Yeah, and it was a New York Times